a Deadstream. My name is CZ, and I will be your host this episode, and I'm joined this afternoon by the Fluff of Nightmares, Lady White Rabbit.
Welcome.
And we're also joined tonight by the third voice of death, Mortis Media.
Hello, everyone.
And joining us today is everybody's favorite waterproof corpse narrator. Please welcome Being Scared.
Greetings.
You're listening to episode 8 of the Deadstream.
In this episode, we'll talk about artificial intelligence horrors, a new platform of horror creators, and PewDiePie featuring a video of our community.
We'll also be taking your questions from the chat later in the broadcast. Super chats will be definitely addressed.
So one of the things that that we discussed on Twitter this week was the Shelly.AI horror thing. So basically what that is, it was a bot on Twitter that would it would write a horror story with you. So you would write a tweet and then say #YourTurn, and then the bot would continue the story. So we tried to start a story with Shelly, but then we realized that it hadn't posted at all in 2018, and it looks like the bot might be offline. But what are your guys' opinions on artificial intelligence writers for horror stories?
I think it could be really interesting if they can be smart enough to write and respond properly.
Yeah, I agree. It would certainly be an interesting avenue to explore.
I agree.
I was thinking about possibly, if we could get it working, trying to write one and seeing if it would contradict itself, like killing off a character and then trying to bring it back and see if it notices. Because it seems like it is
a plot hole bot.
Yeah, it seems like it is able to continue the story and write back like coherent responses.
That's actually really cool, I think.
Yeah. I think I'd quite like to challenge it. I'd quite like to see
immediately
what
people are going to try to
writes
break
back.
it. You know?
Make everything extremely random. Try and confuse it.
There is a side of me that thinks it's cool, but there's also the side of me that thinks about how it's going to be used negatively. And I could see a lot of people using bots to write just like a bunch of stories and get a bunch of stuff out there, and then kind of flood the market with all of these bot-written stories that like probably aren't going to be very good at first, and then it's going to take away from like the real human narrator or human writers rather, because then their stuff will be buried under all the bot stuff.
There's definitely that.
I kind of feel like
potential.
Oh, sorry. That's true. I mean, I feel like maybe if a bot is writing that many stories, you could be able to maybe decipher a pattern and be like, oh, this is a bot-written story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because there's only so much that can go into it.
I feel like in order to do that, then you'd kind of have to understand the coding behind how the bot works. Here's a little preview of it on Twitter. So it was writing quite a lot of stories. I guess it stopped like in November 17, and it was supposedly doing them every hour. I don't know what the motivation was for stopping it, but I don't know. We've seen kind of a similar thing on YouTube, to where, have you ever seen those videos where it's like a news video and it turns out to be one of those text-to-speech voices?
Yeah, I have.
I think those videos are created by bots, and they just create as many as possible around trending topics to try to get views and money. Which I think is part of the reason that we've seen the changes to the partner program come recently, so that they can kind of verify and get those people out of there, or those robots out of there.
Because I think there's only so much originality you can get from a bot. I mean, it's like like Rabbit said, there's going to be like a pattern that all the bots, follow. There's going to be, it's an algorithm. It's X, Y, or Z, and it's going to go down certain routes, and it's just going to be very genetic. Like one day it might be Susie was walking down a lonely gravel road in the middle of the night, and then a few weeks later it might be Danny was walking down the beach in the middle of the night. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah. It'll definitely have like a speech pattern or like
Yeah.
grammar that it always uses.
I mean,
Yeah.
from
I
what
mean,
I read, it was a little bit better than that.
no. Of course, of course. I mean, it's going to be better, but there are going to be things that are very similar that you think, oh, okay, yeah, this is sort of similar to what I've read before. I mean, I would definitely need to, like read a whole bunch of them, I think, before you'd start detecting a pattern. But
And then the other thing to think about is if there is a pattern, then like what if we have real writers who are writing a similar style and then they end up getting dinged for it?
well, yeah, but I think every writer has their own unique flair. When they write, they're usually, well, I don't know. When I read particular people's work, you could just tell by the language they use, by the grammar that they choose to deploy in certain situations that you think, okay, this sounds a lot like this guy, like this girl. But I don't, back to your original question, I don't think that there's any threat that the bots would ever be too good and like outmatch the writers. I still think AI has a long way to go before it does that.
Well, maybe that's what the bots want you to think.
That's
Ooh,
why they're
dang.
writing, kind of like similar stories all the time. Well, if they are.
So this was the tweet that I sent out to try to get it to respond to. One Saturday afternoon at 12 noon, 4 YouTubers were doing a show called The Deadstream. I think it would have been the beginning of a great horror story. But
Yeah.
maybe one of us can finish that story in the future.
I think that would be pretty interesting. Maybe we can get every horror narrator on YouTube to chip in a line
Ooh.
and see how far it goes.
That's a good idea for a collab. Do like a telephone type of thing, or not telephone, but do one of
Yeah.
those things where everybody contributes a little bit to the story.
Well, I'll be trying to top each other
Yeah.
with the most bizarre sentence ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Johnny was walking along the beach and then he saw a skinwalker. And then someone else writes, but the skinwalker turned into the moon that then crushed Johnny until he was revived. by
Tried
a
to run
mermaid."
away, but he ran into tons of bear traps. Oh wait, that was already a story we read.
Revived by the Crutcher.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm bringing the Crutcher into it. You better believe it.
So maybe when we do that video, it'll be a good candidate for the upcoming horror platform Screamflix, which is a new platform that's being developed by Mr. Black Pasta and SCRM Radio, who we have talked about before. And supposedly it's going to be a horror, basically a video platform specifically for horror. So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Sounds cool. Sounds ambitious. but
Yeah,
cool.
sounds like they have a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to rival anything like YouTube. I mean, everyone who's listening right now, thanks for coming, but think of the practicalities. That who here would think, I'm going to check out I'm going to check out Screenflix today instead of YouTube. It's really hard to make something and have people go over there and stick to it, but I think it's a great idea, a great concept, and if they can get it to work, it will be, brilliant. I'm sure. I have high hopes, but I really hope they can make it work. But it just depends. It just depends.
Yeah, I'll definitely be on it from day one, but I do kind of agree with that. Is the other thing about YouTube is that there are a lot of people on it who don't even know that they want to watch your video, and the recommendation system is what brings them in and introduces them to the channel.
Oh yeah.
And then, of course, we talked about VidMe, which was another video platform that they tried to do some things differently than YouTube. They focused more on paid subscriptions than advertising revenue, and it was more it was basically better customer support for the creator. And VidMe was unable to survive because they just couldn't afford to keep the website running because YouTube is so big.
It's the problem when you're the big fish in the pond. Sometimes there's no room for other fish.
Right. So here's a little look at what Screamflix will supposedly look like. I like the design of it. It looks like a clean, good-looking design.
I agree.
Yeah, it looks pretty fresh.
I mean, hopefully, if nothing else, you see like the videos there with like 11,000 views and stuff. So if that turns out to be true, then I think it'll be a success. But I think if they can create it as something that can exist alongside YouTube, then it'll be good for all of us.
Yeah, and I'm not turning it down at all just because it's not YouTube. I can be on multiple platforms all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
If it's something that kind of helps the diehard horror fans become introduced to our content.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that something that they have to focus on is why would you want to go to this other platform instead of YouTube? And I think the only way forward is if they create only original content that you can't get on YouTube. I mean, I don't know if you remember a few months ago when Buster had his little meltdown and said he was only going to be streaming on. Yeah, we're only going to be streaming on Twitch. He said, "Yeah, I'm going to keep everything there, and I'm only going to do Twitch from now on." And the appeal was that everyone would go over to Twitch in order to keep watching him. Mm-hmm. Well, if this is going to be a success, Mr. Blackpasta and SCP Radio are going to have to do a lot of exclusive only work for the site in order to really push the fans over.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like trying to, like we saw with Busta that didn't really work, and I feel like having exclusive content over there maybe isn't the way to go.
But at the same time, if you have the same thing that you've got on both, what's the appeal of going over there as a follower?
I just don't think that that's going to be the purpose of it, is for people to abandon YouTube and go over there.
Oh no,
because nobody's going to do that.
I'm not saying abandon. I'm saying just
have
to
a
get
different set
them to
of
go
content.
over there. Yeah. So it's like there's more appeal to go there and like do both at the same time. But at least they're like, I'm going to check out this other video that's only available on here. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how you start building up a little community, if they know that there's always good stuff there to watch.
Yeah,
I think you'd have to have a lot of people already on YouTube. Like, let's say hypothetically, Mr. Nightmare said that he was going to go over there and he's only going to upload some videos on there. Then a good amount of people would go there because he's got so many subscribers. You know what I mean? Mm. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't really know how it would work. What they really need to figure out a way to make people go there, and it's got to be something that YouTube won't do,
One of the things that they've been doing is taking suggestions on Twitter as to what can make this a better platform. But yeah, I mean, I do agree that that the audience is going to ultimately be the most important part, is having an audience to reach there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was also this other platform, HorrorTube, which I've only heard about from people who know about it. But do you know more about it, Rabbit?
I've not heard about it, no.
Who was it that said they knew something about it?
It was me. It's another platform. It's essentially the same thing as SCRM Flix. It's just another platform to share people's love of horror and do exclusive work and to build up a new community on a separate site. That is it's essentially the same thing, but it's just someone, a few other people with the same idea. Maybe they should get in touch with SCR and Flix and see if they can, work together.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing that either of them need is to be competing with each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's very counterproductive. It just makes sense to have one.
Yeah. It's already such a specific website for a specific need. You might as well combine forces.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So there was a tweet this month by Margbot that raised an interesting question that I wanted to talk about. Should kids be watching our channels?
It depends. It depends on what's in your content. I've stopped you when I first started my channel. I would occasionally say the F word, you know what I mean? But I don't anymore because I've realized that there's got to be, I don't know how many, but there's got to be some children that listen to listen to the content sometimes, and I'd rather them not hear that stuff, you know. But that's just my opinion. I don't know.
But at the same time, just because you don't use profanities, does that mean how where do you draw the line? I mean, in some of my stories, I don't really swear much either, but when it comes to certain stories, they're so dark and they can be really twisted. Is that already not kid friendly? Because I've had adults say more, dude, this is too much.
Yeah.
Please don't do this. And I was like, okay, fair enough. To me, it's not that bad. But because I read these every day. But if it's too bad for you, I'm sorry. But like
it really depends on what's in the story, what's in the video, you know.
Yeah.
Because I wrote a short story that was on my that's on my channel that I did about 3 months ago, and it's called Eater, and it's about a guy that kidnaps somebody else and cannibalizes him, and it's extremely dark. And there's no way I would in my opinion think that a child should listen to that. It just depends, but on the other hand, a lot of my videos, I specifically I'll take out the F word, because it shows up in a lot of the stories that I do, and I'll just swap it out for like a different word just to make it, and I think in most cases you can do that. It really just depends on the content. I don't know.
What do you think, Rabbit?
Go ahead.
I mean, should they be listening to our content? Maybe not. I don't know. But there's content out there that's not specifically horror stories. It's more educational. That's just as dark, talking about serial killers in real life, terrible things to people, and kids are openly able to watch and listen to that as well. And they're not getting punished for it at all because they're an educational.
Whose job do you think it is to facilitate that? Do you think it's your job to make kids aware that that you do have dark content, or do you think it's the kid's job or the parents' job to make sure that they're watching stuff that they should be watching?
It probably lays a little bit on the parents. So we don't have like ratings on our channel or anything. Well, I mean, I guess we do. We have something that tells YouTube that we have adult content, don't we?
Yeah, there's age restriction, and you can age restrict your own video, but I've only seen it done once.
But if you just read the title of some of our videos, it's pretty obvious that if you're certain age, you should be watching it. Like if you read a title like "Most horrific stories you'll ever hear," any self-respecting parent isn't going to be like, you know what, that's a perfect bedtime story for 8-year-old Susie today. Be sensible, people.
Yeah, and I'm not going to give a disclaimer before every video because, I mean, kids are just going to tune it out anyway. I've given disclaimers on only one of my videos, which was Baraska, because it had some serious messed up content in it. And I didn't want anybody walking headfirst into that after 2 hours of listening to me.
But then also, like, if you're a kid, you're gonna want to watch that stuff. Like, it's the same thing with like R-rated movies. When we were a kid, we didn't grow up with YouTube, but like you would always try to sneak those movies
before every video and every movie.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the red band warning.
You know what you're walking into. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if you I've put viewer discretion advised at the beginning of a few of my videos, and it probably has an opposite effect. And if there's a 12-year-old that's wanting to hear something crazy, that's probably what they're looking for, is something like that.
Yeah, I
mean, it's the don't push this button.
Yeah.
Button.
And honestly, I don't feel, because I wasn't censored when I was a kid. I was able to watch pretty much anything. But there was no YouTube when I was a kid. It's just horror movies. But my parents let me watch it. And, I don't know. I just, as a parent now, I'm just kind of, I wouldn't want my kids to watch and listen to certain things on YouTube. But at the same time, you can't really censor them forever, so.
I think the one thing with the profanity is I just think that it's become more commonplace with kids today.
Yeah.
It seems like that's just kind of just something that's not as big of a deal as it used to be. I don't put it in my videos because I want to, like, if my video gets demonetized, I want to have all the right excuses for it not to be to be remonetized, essentially. But yeah, I do think that there's kind of like a lower level or a higher level of tolerance that, like, I guess maybe the older generations don't understand. Like, whenever you see YouTube in the news for doing crazy stuff, they don't really understand that, like, these kids are connected and they do know those words and stuff.
Yeah.
I want to give a big thank you to Eric. How do you pronounce that? Marquardt? Marquette. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but big thank you to him for the generous super chat donation. He says, hey, CZ and Lady White Rabbit, y'all have given me hours of entertainment, and I just wanted to share the love. P.S. Not sure who the other nerds are, but I'll check them out. We appreciate the contribution, and yeah, definitely do go check them out. They're both very, very talented narrators.
Right on. Thanks, Eric.
So the next topic we're going to talk about is kind of a difficult subject to talk about because we're going to try to avoid any spoilers, and it's something that those other two nerds aren't familiar with at the time. But we're going to talk about, as long as we're on the topic of virtual horrors for this episode, we're going to talk about Doki Doki Literature Club. I think we brought it up once last stream. Rabbit brought it up, and then I went and played it since then. And I thought it was like absolutely a masterpiece. So I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer for that, and we'll have a little discussion afterwards. Oh, there's the disclaimer warning. For those of you who are completely confused right now, I swear it it does relate to horror. Just give it another 30 seconds. So yeah, actually, now that I think about it, the trailer doesn't really pertain to horror at all.
No, but that's supposed to like reel you in, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the things that I loved about it is how it just kind of bends the genre.
When did the word value?
But yeah, without spoiling anything, basically, it starts off as like a typical Japanese dating simulator, and it kind of gets more and more disturbing as you go. So Rabbit, I wanted to ask like what your experience was with it. Like, did you go after any one of the girls in particular at the beginning? And like,
Yeah.
what was your experience with the playthrough?
Well, first of all, I heard about it from the Game Grumps. I watched them play up until things just start getting dark, and then I had to stop because I was like, no more spoilers. I need to play this game for myself.
Okay.
I went after Yuri because she's my girl. She's really quiet and reserved, and I like her. And if ever they voiced these characters, I would 100% want to voice her.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'm sure somebody's done it though. But yeah, I also was like more interested in going after Yuri, but at the point of my first playthrough, because I also kind of had the same experience where I had watched like some video on YouTube to familiarize myself with it, and I just saw like the beginning, like the first dark part, and then I went to go play it for myself. But I didn't really know how intelligent the AI was in that.
Oh, yeah.
Like if there was an AI or if it was just a story. So I kind of like, I would talk to the other girls to try to see how Yuri would react.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think in the end that it made a difference.
Yeah, I think if you start going towards Natsuki and then veer away, you'll get a specific event. But that's the only thing I know of that does that. It's kind of interesting because when I first played it through, when things start getting crazy with Yuri, I started getting like I was like alone in my house at night playing this game, and I started getting like scared of her. So I started like confiding in MONIKA, not knowing what her whole role in the entire storyline was, and I was like, "Please save me! I'm gonna hide behind you now."
So when you had like when they're preparing for the festival or whatever, and you have like the take-home project, did you have that with Yuri?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so what was that like? Because I ended up doing it with, I believe it was Natsuki.
So the first time around when you go home and hang out with Yuri, she comes over with a bunch of incense and a knife and starts talking about how she has like a collection of knives. And you end up pricking your finger in which she licks the blood from it. So that's kind of like the foreshadowing of where she's going with that.
And then does Sayori show up during that at all?
Sayori, yeah, she'll always I think she always shows up the same way.
Okay.
The only difference is how you spend the weekend with which girl.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Yeah, if you guys haven't played that one, then I would definitely recommend checking that out. I'm looking in the chat right now. Someone's talking about Spider-Man web shooters.
Oh yeah.
Are you guys following that?
Seeing something about that.
One of my favorite memes from like 2006 or 2007 is the Spider-Man triple action web blasters. Like that commercial's just like so over the top and funny to me. It's like it has like a very early 2000s vibe. There was another game that I played recently which kind of reminded me of Doki Doki Literature Club, which was called Duck Season. Have you guys heard about that?
I've heard of it, but I have no idea what it is.
I have not.
So it's a VR game. It was actually developed by a YouTuber, Brandon JLA, who used to be a part of Rocket Jump, which is Freddie W's company, Video Game High School. But yeah, he started his own VR video game company and came out with this game called Duck Season. So, I mean, we're all familiar with Duck Hunt on the NES, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's basically in the game, you're a kid from the 80s. Your mom rents the game Duck Hunt, and she brings home like a haunted cartridge, and the dog from the game starts haunting you in real life.
Oh yeah, I think you told me about this, and I was intrigued if I ever got a VR.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and play a trailer for this one as well.
Nice.
So the cool thing about that's similar to Doki Doki is it starts off as just a regular game, and I think you play like 3 rounds of just the regular duck shooting game before things start to get weird.
Oh wow.
But
that looks like an 80s fever dream.
Yeah, it's awesome because like you play it in the Oculus, and then
Wow.
like when you put that thing on, it's amazing because you really feel like you're in there more so than like watching a 360 video on YouTube. Like when you're in the game, you really feel like you're in it, and you can interact with almost everything. And like playing that game, I really felt like it was going into a time machine and going back to the 80s.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even around for the 80s, but I still, after playing that, found myself like having nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It's kind of what Stranger Things did.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, is the Oculus the best VR device?
I haven't used them all, but it's probably the best one that I've used.
Okay.
And they're going to continue to get a lot better in the next few years. Because right now it's a high resolution, but considering that it's wrapped all the way around you, what you're actually looking at any one given moment isn't that high. So like once the technology gets better, then it's going to be really amazing and probably like hard to differentiate out of real life. Like I honestly had, it's the stereotypical thing of like a movie where you go into the video game and then you don't want to come out. I honestly got that when I was in there. Like I just wanted to stay and explore that world. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard great things, and I'm just definitely waiting for, the peak of VR technology for me to go out and get one.
But yeah, the game's like super scary because you're playing the game and then it becomes apparent that the dog has like crossed over into real life, and you keep turning around because you don't know where he's going to be. He could be in any direction. And then there's like weird stuff. Like I won't spoil too much of it, but like for example, I was playing it with a couple friends, and there's like a photo that's on your wall, and then after a while, like I was just looking around and doing my thing and analyzing different parts of the apartment, things you missed, and I noticed the dog was like in this picture.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
details.
when we noticed that, we were so freaked out.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's definitely a huge platform for horror in VR, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it does seem to be more akin to gaming than it does for video. But yeah, I would like to do a video at one point. Are you hungry there, being scared?
Yes.
So our next topic is PewDiePie talked about one of the videos from someone in the horror community. I'm going to need a second to bring this up. Have you guys seen this?
No.
I heard about that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, so PewDiePie does this thing called meme review. So he did a video it was on February 6th, so about a month ago. And he reviewed one of Chill's / Top 15's videos. And it's since become like a pretty big meme, I think. I've seen... Like I posted something on Twitter and people were making references to it. Like I saw
King lettuce.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and play the video.
Stupid! This meme is fantastic. It started from Top 15's channel, making a video of the top 15 mysteries solved by 4chan. And the very first video begins like this.
Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get.
How does he do that stupid voice?
Number 15.
No, number 15. Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you want in your Burger King burger is foot fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get. Why does he talk like that? And why? I have so many questions. The absurdity of this clip made for some nice memes. Here it's done in a silly pitch.
The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus.
Completely turning the video around. Incredible. It used to be so spooky.
All right, I think there's more.
Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get.
Man, I don't know why it's funny. It's just so dumb. There's of course the number 9 Big Smoke ordering.
All right, you get the idea.
Yeah.
So pretty funny meme. But what do you guys think? Is this good for the horror community, getting more exposure off the biggest channel on YouTube, or are people just not going to take it seriously now?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, it's probably good exposure for. He didn't actually promote anything particularly creepy or horror, so I don't think it will have a huge boom or be particularly helpful. He just really took the piss out of chills. So
I think it probably is good for chills. A lot of people will probably go over there and watch the video now, but
it's sure good for chills. But you know, when did the video come out?
A month ago.
Oh well, I don't know. I think I'd need to see if chills spiked or anything.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to look at.
Yeah, but he's a pretty big channel anyway.
But just in terms of memes, being scared, what grade would you give it?
A 7
out of 10.
Yeah,
7 tacos out of 10 from being scared.
Out of 700 tacos. I just really want tacos.
Who doesn't?
I always want tacos.
I know what we're doing after the stream.
Yeah, going straight to Taco Bell.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of interesting because it's something that I've noticed for a while, where there are a lot of YouTubers, especially commentary YouTubers, who kind of talk and they don't end their sentence, and I think that's kind of what Chills is doing here.
Yeah.
And it's just like a really good example of it, and that's why it became a meme.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's also his very dry, very monotone
voice. Yeah. I did notice that when I've listened to some of his videos.
Yeah.
I love his voice.
You love his voice?
I do. It's really unique, and I don't know. It just goes really well with the top, the top lists that he does. In my opinion.
I used to really like his voice when I saw his first. I think I saw his first ever video, and I really liked him. But I don't know, when he did the collaboration with Rob Dyke, when his voice was compared to Rob's nice, smooth flowing voice, I was like, oh my god,
it's a little jarring.
Yeah,
you read the comments. Oh my gosh.
You need to just listen to him on his own. You can't have him in another video. When you listen to him, it's okay, but when you can put him next to someone else, you just feel like, oh. No.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just me.
I actually just asked him if he would join me in a video, and he said yes. So that's going to be interesting.
Awesome! Well done.
Yeah.
I think Nick Nocturne does kind of a similar thing. There's actually a video a while ago. I don't remember which one, but I was watching Nick Nocturne, and you guys know Nick's channel, right? Nightmind.
Yeah.
Yes.
To where he's kind of like, hello everybody and welcome to Nightmind. That I was listening to him and then I was narrating my video and I found myself kind of doing that. I was like, no. So then I think I re-recorded it or something. Not that's bad. Not that that's bad. He has a very pleasing voice. But I don't want to do the same thing in mine.
You should do an entire video and just try to mimic Chills as best you can, and then see what happens.
Yeah, I should do an Al Dente Creepypasta. I should write one about the different narrators.
Oh yeah.
And then do impersonations of their voices.
Oh God, no. I'm already self-conscious enough of my voice.
I need to hear this.
I don't think that I'd be able to imitate yours, Rabbit, but I could maybe get the whoever does the voice from or on High School Host Club.
Well, there you go. It's not Rabbit, but it's close enough.
Yeah. So our next story is kind of a part 2 of something that we've covered before, but our good friend Southern Cannibal has done another face reveal of the top half of his face.
Yay! More faces.
So we're all gonna give our grade to out of 10 tacos on his haircut.
A million tacos.
So, Rabbit, how many tacos are you giving Southern Cannibal's new haircut?
I'll give it a solid 7.5 tacos because I ate the other half of the taco.
All right, being scared.
Oh.
There you go. 6 tacos.
6 tacos.
He's eating more of the tacos.
He would have given 7, but he ate one of them.
Dang it. We only have so many.
I was going to give him 10, but I ate 4 of them.
Shoot.
Damn.
And Mort, if you have any tacos left at this point.
Ooh, I'm gonna give him 5 tacos.
I'll give him 8 tacos and 1 taquito because I ordered extra.
Taquito. That's like getting a curly fry in with your regular fries.
Yeah.
Always a win.
Did you guys hear about Meat Locker?
No.
So yeah, he posted a tweet a while ago, and it's since been deleted because he took down his Twitter. But he said, "I've been so busy with 2 jobs that I've given up on YouTube. Lost my will to even bother, but I've been blessed with a new job, one that can pay my bills, put me in a house, and more importantly, I'll be able to annoy your eardrums again with new videos."
Well, that's great.
Wait, I'm confused. So he's not quitting YouTube then?
Well, he said that, and then he deleted all his profiles, except for his YouTube, which he changed the name of it to Gray God,
Huh.
which you can see here.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's gone now.
Huh.
Interesting.
So that seems very strange to me that he said he was going to be... It seems like a lot of people do this, actually, where they say they're going to be posting more, and then I don't know what happens, like the pressure gets to them or something, and then they just totally go MIA.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like he's happy with what he's doing, though.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
Well, he also
Right.
took down all of his videos.
Well, I mean, his jobs that he's talking about, something that can pay his bills. And
Yeah. I don't know. It seems strange to me, though, that he would say he's coming back and then just completely disappear.
Why would he take down all of his videos but still leave his channel? That's weird.
yeah, that
Yeah.
is a little strange.
And, like, changed the whole name and branding of it.
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe there's something huge on the horizon for him.
Yes, maybe.
Maybe
he-
go ahead.
I was just gonna say maybe he's gonna send us loads of tacos, and that's his new career.
A couple things in the chat I can address. Actually, we could probably start taking questions now before we hit our last few stories and our narration for the day. But looking at the chats, Tickle Me Trish 13 says Let's did a pretty good Southern Cannibal impersonation. Are you talking about Let's Read?
I would assume so.
I just
Okay.
read that too. That's interesting. I would really like to hear that.
Yeah,
So would I.
that does sound interesting. CZsWorld should inherit the channel. Maybe he's going to upload a 10-hour story.
Oh boy.
I mean, I don't know what I would do if I inherited Meat Locker's channel. I'm just noticing this now. Did you guys
heard
notice?
him? You make a 10-hour story.
Did you guys notice what the banner
Upload.
photo is?
Just
Yeah.
upload pictures of raw meat, and that's it.
Ooh, nice. That's a good one.
Guys, how do you feel about the horror community as a whole?
What do you mean?
That's a question posed by Harry Reid.
Oh,
That's a vague question.
that is a vague question. I think it's a great community. I think it's one of the best communities on YouTube. I think whenever you look at like people doing collaborations and supporting each other, that we have like some of the most interaction out of anybody and like some of the most positive support.
I agree. I'm not a part of any other community, so I have no idea, but I enjoy being a part of it, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch other YouTubers outside of the community?
I do.
I do. Yeah.
Who are you guys a fan
Yeah.
of?
I watch Mojo all the time. I watch Angry Joe. He does reviews on video games and movies.
Okay.
Pretty much just occasionally I would watch Good Mythical Morning.
Yep,
Okay.
that's my jam.
Yeah. Pretty much
Shout out
just
to my
those three, though.
boys.
Yeah, I love that. I love those guys. They're awesome.
What about you, Mart?
Well, I listen to a lot of I Hate Everything.
Oh yeah,
I find him incredibly funny.
I think we
and-
talked about him on the show before.
Yeah, it's just really funny. And I'm also like a super Pokemon Go nerd, so I'm really, really in that community. So, but I doubt very few people who are in the horror community do that. But yeah, they've got a good community going on. But I don't think it's as collaborative as the horror community.
Rabbit?
A lot of gaming stuff. I'm a huge fan of the Game Grumps, of Good Mythical Morning, like I said. Your Movie Sucks is great. And recently I've been getting big into Defunct Land.
What's Defunct Land?
It is a channel that basically just talks about the history of roller coasters that went out of commission and why. And it's a dude who's trying to make a VR park of all the defunct rides.
That's
That's
really cool.
actually pretty cool.
So really excited about it.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out because I'm a huge roller coaster fan, and I used to do like those VR coasters on.
Oh yeah, for sure. You'd love this channel.
Yeah.
There's a couple more that I just thought of that I don't know why I didn't think of these two, but Cinema Sins. Have you guys heard of that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
That channel is hilarious. I love that channel. And also Screen Junkies.
Yeah.
Really good channel.
I'm not a huge fan of Cinema Sins or Your Movie Sucks because I feel like their whole career is just like crapping on movies. So they'll look for anything.
They do, yeah. Well,
hit our
he
movie.
even says that. He even says, "I know I'm an asshole, but this is what I do." But if you watch enough of the episodes, he'll actually like if he'll admit when he really likes something, and he'll say, "You know what? This is so cool that I'm going to take off 5 sins or whatever." Something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just prefer like I love bad movies, but I prefer to give attention to the ones that are good.
I do too.
Someone came up with a parody channel called Cinema Wins. I don't know how well it did, but
Oh jeez.
I know it's out there.
Yeah, I've tried watching it. It's the opposite. He's just pointing out everything that he loves, and it's not. Honestly, I'm being honest. Like it's a much nicer channel, but it's not nearly as entertaining.
Not as entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, for me, when people just like watch these movies and list things, it doesn't really do it for me. So like I obviously have things you missed, but with that I try to say like, why is this important to the movie? Why is this like psychologically relevant? And kind of go a little bit deeper with it. As for me, I watch a lot of YouTube. My favorite channel is Dax Flame, who is like one of the OG YouTubers, but he was basically like a vlog channel where he was like the awkward kid in school, and he would do vlogs about like all the weird stuff that he would get into. And he's always in character. He's been in like real Hollywood movies. He's always in character. But he doesn't post a whole lot anymore. I watch a lot of Keemstar. I like to keep up to date with what's going on YouTube, and I think he's really entertaining. And one that I've been watching a lot recently is called Yes Theory.
Yes, Theory. They're great.
Yeah, he's really cool. So they do like, how would you describe their channel?
So if you've seen the film Yes Man, it's about a guy who just says yes and does, things that's going to improve his life. Well, they go out of their way to put themselves in uncomfortable situations and, embrace life to do really random, wacky, funny things. And it's really funny. Like they made an episode I don't know how old it is, because I only just recently found them, but they just on a Wednesday they were like, okay, you know what? Today we're gonna find a stranger, ask to host a dinner party at their house, and invite other strangers, and it's gonna be great. And
Yeah, I
they
saw
pulled
that
it off,
one.
and it was brilliant. And I was like, oh my god, why can't I be doing this?
I need to see that. That sounds really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Then I remember. Then I live in London, and if I do that, I'll probably get stabbed. But
Or
What's that channel
acid
called
port over
again?
you. It's called Yes Theory.
yes,
Yes,
they're really good. They're really good.
Yeah, they did that like right over here in Venice.
Yeah. They did. Yeah.
My favorite video that they did was when they tried to sneak into places by wearing yellow vests.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Like those like construction
Yeah,
worker or electrical
yeah,
workers, they always have
yeah.
the yellow vests. So they just put those on, and like they snuck into a bunch of movie theaters, and they snuck into like a restaurant. And that was the only one where they got caught. And then they snuck into a theme park. They snuck into Universal.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
How? I need to watch.
They just walked right through the exit wearing those vests, and nobody questioned them.
Oh, but you know what? I think the greatest thing is they challenged Will Smith, because Will Smith now has a YouTube channel, to jump out of a helicopter, to heli bungee, and he replied and he accepted, and that's gonna be a great video.
Yeah, that was
Will
the most
Smith
recent
heli
video.
bunging over the Grand Canyon.
I'm actually going to the Grand Canyon soon, so I'm hoping
Don't-
that they do it at the same time that I'm there.
Yeah, you should just. Why don't you say, listen, I'm a fellow YouTuber and I want to be a part of the experience. And who knows, they might even say yes, and you could just be there
Yeah.
as part of their entourage. Do it.
There's this kid that shows up to the YouTube. I think he was in this chat earlier. His name's Elixir. But he actually like just showed up at their house because they did this video where they showed up at billionaires' houses and tried to have donuts with them. So he did that same thing to them, and yeah, they let him in, and he made the video, and he had donuts with them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But enough about Yes Theory. Do we have any other questions that we want to address? There's a 7-foot white rabbit outside my house. What should I do?
Just leave it alone. Give it some tacos, and everything will be fine.
I mean, it sounds like maybe a possible sequel to duck season.
Rabbit season.
Rabbit season, yeah.
or Wabbit season.
Wabbit season.
GG Gaming says, should I become Spider-Man? Yes. If you have the opportunity, I would recommend it.
Highly recommend becoming Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. Just remain an average person like the rest of us.
Oh, man.
Oh, Eric.
We got another donation from Eric. He's a truck driver, so he had to stop to reply. Oh, wow. That's dedication.
Thanks a lot, man.
Do you all share the super chat pay? Yes, we do. If not, do Mortis Media, Scary Readings, and Lady White Rabbit have Patreon? Lady White Rabbit has one.
I do, yes.
We talked about the story behind that, right?
Oh, where my Patreon came from?
Yeah, I think we talked about it.
Yeah, that was like the first Deadstream, I think.
But yeah, thanks again to Eric. We really appreciate the contribution.
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
thank you.
And that's awesome that you listen to the Deadstream like while you're out trucking. Because like it's become more video centric now, I guess. But I've always wanted it to work as an audio thing as well, so where you can just listen to it. Because that's how I consume a lot of my content.
Yeah.
Were there any other questions that we wanted to address before we move on?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting up to close to an hour here, but we should talk about the Dark Somnium's WWE horror streams, which I think is a hilarious idea. Have you guys seen any of them?
No, I want to really bad.
Okay, he's done one so far, and it was a few weeks ago. And I'm just gonna play it with no sound in the background here while we talk about this. But basically, I don't know. He modded this WWE 17 fighting game or something, and he created like all of our avatars from the horror community.
No way.
Yeah. So then he ended up having this huge like battle royale type of thing. So this one is Let's Read versus Insomniac.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he basically, I think he just creates the characters and then puts it on stream, and he commentates while they fight it out, and he just lets them go at it.
I think we all know that the winner out of everyone will be Killer Orange Cat.
No, actually, so he did the tournament last time, and the winner ended up being me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I got to be
cool.
king of the horror community for a day.
Wow.
That is great.
And the hilarious thing was my first match was against the Dark Somnium. And I'm pretty sure I just destroyed him.
Oh, this is too funny. This is brilliant. I had no idea this even existed.
Look at the size of these guys. Like, look at the size of the ref. And then look. Let's read an Insomniac.
Oh my god. Do you know who wins?
I believe Let's Read won this one, if I remember correctly. It was a while ago. But when he's doing it, he does like the full commentary. Like, oh, he grabs his head. Oh, and he's about to slam him down.
Wow.
Oh, and the other thing, he drinks while he's doing it. So by the end of it, he's drunk.
Oh.
Um,
Damn. Insomniac.
He's actually doing another one tonight, I believe. I think it's tonight.
Wow.
So I want to watch the one that I'm in.
Can we just leave this playing?
Yeah, just leave it playing. It's so funny.
So we talked about that Shelly.AI thing at the beginning of the stream. It didn't continue our story, obviously, but we just found a story that it wrote. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to spice it up and read that instead. So we're going to have Being Scared and Lady White Rabbit narrating this AI written horror story. So the parts that Being Scared narrates are the parts that the bot wrote. And then the parts that Rabbit narrates are going to be the parts that the human Twitter users wrote.
Is that right? Was it the bold?
I thought it was the other way, no?
No, I think the bold is the bot.
Yeah, that's what I called.
That's what I said, right?
No.
Yeah. The bold is the bot. Or in this case, Being Scared is the bot.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Then
did I switch it?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
That's why I was like...
I switched it.
I don't care.
You guys can't see the text, but it's bold, and that's bot, and Lady Rat Rabbit's going to read that.
Okay, so I am the bot.
Got it.
Cool.
And if you guys want to throw in any wrestling announcing during your narration, you're welcome to.
It looked at me and said something to me that I couldn't even look away from. It's time, Tim.
The last time I heard that, Mom passed away, with no family left alive. Who could it mean?
Was that my mom? What did she mean? I never wanted to see the same face again.
But it was her. It was Mom. But she's been dead for over 10 years. Slowly I realized that can only mean one thing.
I was about to get punished. I felt worried.
But I also knew nothing would equal the pain I caused her. I turned to the figure that I used to call Mom and begged for mercy.
It looks like Let's Read is also getting punished right now.
She just stared at me. At that moment, I was sure I was going to die the same way. I didn't have the right to speak.
But I could tell I was surrounded by doctors and nurses. At least I hoped that's what they were. Still unable to move, I could still feel everything, including the first slice from the scalpel and the leather-like scales on its 6 fingers.
And then I realized that I was still alive. My mind still in uncontrollable danger, and my body felt like it was going to.
Although I now knew it was my time, I could choose to go peacefully, or I could continue to fight. I made my decision, and I slowly
died. I was overcome by I was overcome by a relief that I had never felt before.
Relief that was short-lived when the monstrous figure rose from the flames and said, "Welcome to hell, Tim. Your cell awaits."
The wall was completely empty except for the fire pit. The flames started at the same time as I was on the ground.
Suddenly I saw hundreds of poor souls being tortured in flames. I guess I was really in hell.
I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. I was literally shaking from the fire. I tried to scream, but I couldn't find my voice. As I stared at the flames, the fire grew darker and darker as the fire grew brighter.
That makes sense.
Oh. I imagined the fire started to fade, and then I woke up in a hospital bed. I was shaking, and all I could see was my needles and the blood and sticks in my fingers. What?
Then that bastard came into my room. I instantly knew what had happened and why I was being here. Why I was here. He always was at fault.
But the only thing I could think of was that he was alive and that he was going to get me. I felt so sure of that, and
"Look what you've done," he yelled at me. "You ruined my experiment. Again. Can't you get anything right?" He continued raving. More stories. HTTP.
ooh, that's the scariest part of all.
Yeah, if you're interested in checking out more, there's a website, stories.Shelly.AI. The story doesn't really go anywhere, but it seems like the bot actually kind of pushed it further, like pushed the story forward more than the human.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it didn't even start falling apart until the fire started fluctuating in how it was going.
Yeah. But like it was pretty coherent. Like the person would bring up like a male character, Tim, and then it seemed like it was consistent. The bot's responses were consistent.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a long way to go before it's able to rival like a human writer.
I think that's something that we should do in the future is just do like sentence horror stories with each other.
Yeah, let's do it.
That'd be really cool.
And I definitely want to stop halfway into a sentence and have the other person finish it.
Yeah, that was my favorite part.
Dead.
And the sticks in his fingers. Like that just sounds like the Rake or something.
Oh yeah.
Like it sounds like a description of one of those creepypasta creatures or creatures, I should say.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the Crutchers.
Any other thoughts on the AI horror story before we wrap things up?
Just
No.
excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Let's do a couple more things from the chat. So Harry is asking, is this a program that I can use? I think he's talking about the wrestling stream, right?
I don't know.
If that's what you're talking about, Harry, it looks like it's a video game, like WWE 2K18 or something, and that he's just modded it to include all these characters. Some of them actually look pretty similar to who it's supposed to be.
He means the AI story.
Oh my God, Eric.
Eric,
Pulling
dude.
through.
Whoa, Eric.
Wow.
What a boss.
You're paying for all of my tacos, dude.
Perfect tacos are on me. I drive 10 hours a day and horror narrators get me through 6. Thanks, man.
Nice.
You're the
We're
best.
happy to oblige.
Yeah, that's 50 tacos right there, I always like to say.
$1 a taco? You're getting ripped off.
So CZsWorld, I'm I have PayPal and I'm pretty sure Mort does too. And however you want to split this up is totally cool.
Yeah, we'll figure it out after.
I was just joking.
As for the
That was he.
as for the AI program, it was a bot that you could interact with on Twitter, but it doesn't look like it's working anymore. But if it ever becomes active again, then we'll definitely have to do a Deadstream story.
Oh, for sure.
Cool.
And and then there was one other. Oh yeah, people keep bringing up like you guys should check out Foundflix. He's a horror YouTuber, except he does movies. I've never really watched one of Foundflix's videos, but I just know like whenever I upload a Things You Missed, then he like he uploads something that's like extremely similar to it. Like I'll do Things You Missed in Jigsaw, and then he'll do like Details You Missed in Jigsaw, and it'll come out like a couple days after. So I don't really know about that, but I haven't like looked in depth at his content. He could have completely different things that I didn't talk about, for all I know. But it does seem kind of suspicious to me.
Yeah,
He'll just reword everything you say to sound like he's an off-brand version of you.
Yeah, well, like when I started doing Things You Missed and it started to get popular, I noticed there were like a bunch of even like a bunch of big channels who started just like taking my titles and thumbnails and descriptions and doing like their own just barely altered version. Like even Watch Mojo was doing it.
Oh yeah.
So it was very strange. Frosty Pen and Paper Online says search for some creepy stuff from Mother Russia. Should I do it?
Yes, you should.
Just search that on Google. It's creepy stuff from Mother Russia.
Better split it.
Eric!
Oh man.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Eric.
So generous.
The rate we're
That's
going,
amazing.
I'm just gonna quit my day job. Do this forever.
I know who's eating tacos tonight.
In 5 minutes.
All right, so this is Pinterest. Side story about Pinterest. Do you guys have time to stay for a while to do a side story?
Yeah, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
suppose.
Yeah, we're starting earlier. I keep getting these weird recommendations from Pinterest, and I posted some of them on Twitter. So I got like Pinterest recommends me anime boys. I don't know where it comes up with this. And then it started like recommending these weird anime ships. Like I do probably look up anime things, but not like those specific things. So it's just been giving me like all these weird recommendations recently.
Oh, wow.
In Soviet Russia, Pokemon catch you. None of them look creepy. They just look like memes.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any experience with Pinterest?
Not so much.
No, I've used it from time to time, but it's not something I frequently.
Yeah, I tried to use it a while ago to promote my YouTube stuff, but they stopped accepting YouTube links. Have you ever used it being scared?
I have not, no.
So here's some more creepy Mother Russia memes. These are kind of creepy. Just the faces look very, very bony, I guess.
These people look like they're in some serious distress.
Yeah.
Damn, are you kidding me, Eric?
Oh my gosh.
Whoa, dude.
All right. I feel like we need to do something special for Eric.
I gotta.
Hey, Eric, I'm doing a live stream in exactly 1 week. I'm gonna
Go ahead
send
and
you
invite
the
you to
link to
that.
my channel. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you have anything you want us to talk about, Eric?
Yeah, dude, you've got the spotlight, man.
While we wait for him to respond, we'll look at some more creepy Russian propaganda memes. Harry's like, Eric, what are you? Guys, you got to pleasure him orally. At this point, Harry.
CZ's volunteering.
Eric, I just want to say, if you ever pop by my channel and you have a particular topic you want me to cover, just put a message down and I'll make a video. And I'll even say this is for Eric. This is for Eric.
I think I've made more off of Eric today than I have off of just YouTube in general.
Yeah, no kidding on that one.
Let's look up some images. Oh, this looks interesting.
There you go.
A monkey choking
Harry
out
wrote,
some later.
Eric, what are you?
He's the hero this Deadstream deserves.
Yeah.
What are you?
Let's look at some of the other questions. How did you guys like Strangers Pray at Night? I haven't seen it yet, and I actually haven't seen the original Strangers, but maybe you guys can speak on that.
Oh man,
I really liked The Strangers, and I can't wait for the sequel.
yeah. The original is fantastic. I haven't seen the
Yeah.
sequel yet.
What's the premise of it?
Two people are home alone in a house, like in the woods, kind of away from other people, and these three masked figures start just tormenting them, breaking into their house, just generally terrifying them for no other reason than they were home.
Right.
Okay. Looking at like the aesthetic of the new movie, it did give me a little bit of vibes from The Purge, but I know The Strangers came out before that, right?
Yeah. The masks, I think, may have been inspired by The Strangers.
Eric says, "Bank's declining me now." LOL. I don't know what that means, but
It means we cleaned him out of house and home, dude.
But yeah, Eric, if you have anything you want us to talk about, we'll be on here for a couple more minutes, so let us know. And
Yeah, and even if not, man, follow us on all of our social medias and hit us up.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
What was the other question? In Soviet Russia, taco pay for you. Do you know D-Jatlo happening? Well, I don't know what that means. Let's look it up.
I don't get you kids in your speaking.
There's no Djatlo, but Dyatlov was, I guess, some incident in Russia.
Oh, Dyatlov Pass.
Dyatlov?
Oh, the Dyatlov Pass, yeah.
You
Yeah.
probably know more about this than we do because of proximity.
Better.
Well,
Better, Mort.
it's something that my brother told me, but I never researched it. But I think it's this, like on a mountain or something, or like a hill, and when people go through there, they've disappeared, or there was a team of people who disappeared in this pass. It was like really unexplained. That's about. Oh, is that their faces? I don't know. I guess they were found and they were dead.
Yeah,
don't know.
I actually did a video on this like a year ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, actually. Pretty scary. Yeah, they were all just found like dead, and I guess somebody was missing a tongue, and there's just nobody has any idea what happened to them. It's really creepy.
That's interesting. And then this is a Yeti from Dyatlov Pass. Of course, it's blurry because every supernatural photo is always blurry. What do you guys think that the tongue was used for?
Maybe soup. I don't know.
Soup. Tongue soup.
I mean, if I was going to resort to cannibalism, that's probably not the first thing I would go for.
No?
What would you go for first?
True.
That's a good question.
Yeah, tell me all about how you would cannibalize somebody.
I mean, it seems logical to go for like something meaty,
Like a leg or an arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably go for like I don't know, like definitely part of their arm, I'm thinking.
There's probably
first.
some prime meat on those shoulder blades.
You got to remember though, in Mother Russia, they eat the other parts first.
That's true.
Freaking Harry Reid,
That's
man,
true.
cracked me up.
Yeah, having a good back and forth with him.
Frosty also says there was a bunch of radioactive material on them and nobody knows why.
Man, that's
good
weird.
old Russia.
GG Gaming says, is Eric Mr. Beast, which is Mr. Beast is a YouTuber who does all these like he does all these videos where he like crashes in on streams and donates like tons of money, or like he did one recently where he donated a bunch of pennies to someone, like 100,000 pennies or something.
Oh wow.
That could be Eric. Could be Mr. Beast in disguise, for all we know. If it is, we figured it out.
Hashtag exposed.
All right. Any last things you guys want to hit before we wrap it up?
I don't think so.
I think being scared hit. Is it 40K or have you already blown
we
that
can
out
talk
the
about
water?
the milestones today.
Yeah. So being scared, was it? Have you already hit 41 or 42? I mean, you're on fire. Like I can't even keep track.
I just hit 41.
Oh, well done, man! Seriously, congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Being Scared's channel's been blowing up. He did. It started with the scary stories to listen to in the rain, right?
Yes.
And then,
Nice.
like, where did it go from there? How did you capitalize on that?
Well, I did the first one, and people liked it, and people just commented and said that they would like me to do more, and I did, and people liked it. That was pretty much it.
Sweet.
Pretty cool, man.
Do what works. So congratulations to Being Scared on that. Also, we had Let's Read hit 300,000.
Woof.
Wow.
Big.
Yeah.
Legit.
That's awesome.
I think I first started talking to Let's Read when he had like 30,000. So it's been awesome to watch him grow and find an audience like that.
Yeah.
And Don't Turn Around hit 200,000.
Wow.
Nice.
I actually just learned about him like a week ago, and his channel is really cool.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I think most of my audience does know because we've been doing cross promotion recently with in the community tab. But for those of you who aren't familiar, he is most known for doing creepy texting stories. So instead of doing narrations, you see the text message conversation playing out. They're pretty cool.
That's really
Pretty cool.
He did one recently that I really liked in particular. He did texting stories with YouTube celebrities at VidCon. And it was like there was a maniac going around VidCon hunting down these YouTubers. So he had like Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and then like Keemstar and Rice Gum jumped into it. PewDiePie. It was a fun story. Yeah, so that is all of the time we have for this episode of the Deadstream.